I was stalked in AA. I had a stalker in AA. It was very difficult, and I was very angry about it. We're allowed to be angry at things that are happening in AA, out of AA, and to say it's all like, I need to work my program more, or I need to be grateful for things, or you can't have those feelings because it means you're a dry drunk. You're supposed to be like a good little AA and only grateful for everything. It's fucking bullshit. There's a lot of BS that happens in AA. I'm sure there are things that happen to you in AA that were not right and that maybe you were angry. Hello, welcome to the Sobriety Bestie podcast. My name is Kirsten. Super excited you're here today for part 2 in our series about grieving Alcoholics Anonymous. This is about recovering from recovery, essentially. And today we're going to be talking about anger. In the first part, we talked about the first stage of grieving, which is denial. I will link that up here and below if you want to check that out. If you are angry about what happened or the fact that you are even in Alcoholics Anonymous, it's totally understandable. This is a normal reaction, and I think most of us are probably really angry when we realize, what the fuck? Literally, what the fuck? When we have that epiphany of it was a harmful cult religion that we were part of. I know I felt that way. I felt all sorts of feels, especially when I first left Alcoholics Anonymous. So remember, we're unpacking the 5 stages of grief here in this series, and stage 2 is anger. Now, they don't come in specific order. Everyone's different. The healing could be whatever it is like for you. If you are angry after leaving AA, that's what we're talking about here. And it makes really sense. It's totally understandable. It doesn't mean that you're bitter. It doesn't mean that you are resentful in the AA sense. It just means that a line was crossed. For me, anger is about boundaries are crossed, or we've been violated in a way. I get angry. I feel angry when I've been violated, and anger is valid. Anger is valid. Anger is protective. Anger might shift over time. Anger might shift over time, but it doesn't. Anger is valid. Anger is protective. Anger might shift over time, but it doesn't have to. You might be angry forever if you are angry. It might come and go. It might go away forever and be totally resolved. Healing doesn't require you to let go of all of the anger. You can just be yourself, and if you're pissed, you're pissed. It's okay. Anger might look or sound like, I can't believe I did AA for so long. I know I felt that way. Like, why did I spend a decade of my life in that cult religion? Or why was I there for 10 years when it's all baloney? Maybe they made you feel like you were a problem and you're angry about that. AA positions us as the problem. I heard somewhere once it said, like, cult rule number 1 is we're not a cult, and cult rule number 2 is you're wrong. Whatever it is, you're wrong. Oh, you relapsed, it's your fault. Oh, it didn't work for you, it's your fault. It's never AA's fault. It's never the program's fault. It's always the person's fault. You didn't work it hard enough. You didn't want it enough, whatever. It's all, maybe you're angry about that. You're angry about you were set up to fail, essentially, because that's the structure of the program. Maybe you feel like you wasted time that you can't get back. You wasted life that you can't get back. I know a lot of us, I felt this way. A lot of us feel this way. Maybe you are angry that you were told that you would die if you left, that you were coercively controlled, that you were indoctrinated into bill shit. And yeah, maybe you're angry about that. I know that I was also had a lot of feelings about that. I had done that to others too, that I had sponsored others. Therefore, I was indoctrinating others also into the BS of AA. Maybe you were gaslit, you were manipulated. I think we were all manipulated. Maybe you're pissed that nobody warned you. I know I was pissed a year after I left AA. So I was in AA for 10 years and I left AA 5 years ago. And 1 year after leaving AA, I got diagnosed autistic. And then 4 years after leaving AA, I got diagnosed ADHD, like almost 1 year ago this month. And so I was pissed when I found out about neurodivergence, and that was a better explanation of what was happening with me, with my brain specifically, than this so-called alcoholism, this made-up fatal progressive disease, Bill baloney bullshit. So I was really angry about the misdiagnosis and attributing my natural wiring to the ideology through like Bill's made up words and terms, and that I got locked in because I was identifying with people inside the rooms that were sharing about their thinking and their feeling. Now I think they were just autistic or ADHD or both. And so I was relating with their internal world because I had a similar wiring to them, but everybody was calling it alcoholism. So I was really angry about the misdiagnosis because I could have got proper help sooner. If, like, in fact, when I got sober in 2009, I told my sponsor that first year, I think I'm ADHD. It's really bad. I can't sit still. I can't focus. I can't work. I can't do shit. Like, I was struggling really bad at that point in time. And I told her, I think I have ADHD. It's bananas. This is nuts. I need help. And she said, no, everything that's going on with you is called alcoholism. That's your only problem. And the only solution you need for all of that is the 12 steps. So I was really angry about some of the specific things that happened to me. And I would imagine that you either felt or currently feel that way too. It's normal to feel angry when we're violated. AA has this whole bullshit about anger is the dubious luxury of normal men, meaning we're not normal, of course. We're alcoholics. Normies are different. That's all baloney, too. That's this us versus them cult shit. That's not true. And I'm swearing a lot in this video. So we're basically taught that resentments and anger are bad. We shouldn't feel them. In fact, it's like a slander or a slam when an AA will say, you sound resentful, you're resentful. Some of the AA defenders in my comments will say, you sound resentful. And I'm like, bro, we're allowed to be resentful out here. First of all, I don't feel resentful about AA, and you're projecting, but who cares if I do? Like, we're allowed to feel resentful. This is like some mythology that AA has that actually comes from, because originally the 12 steps come from the Oxford group, cult religion, that Bill got sober in for the first 2.5 years of his sobriety. And so when he left the Oxford group, when he was 2.5 years sober, he took the 6 principles for the Oxford group that involve like restitution, basically the amends, the confessing your sins, or the 5th step, the moral inventory, the spreading the message, practicing the principles in all your affairs, the quiet time with God. Like, he took the steps of the Oxford group, or the principles, and he made them into the 12-step principles. So they were never designed as like a recovery program. But what he did was, in the Oxford group, it was about your sins block you from God. That was the ideology, or that's Christianity, or whatever. I've never been into a formal religion. Basically, the Oxford group had sins block you from God. So you do the work, you do your moral inventory in the Oxford group to remove your sins, confess your sins, so that you can be closer to God. In AA, Bill just changed that word from sin to like resentment, or even character defect. And so your defects or your resentments are blocking you from God. And so it really demonized emotions, at least the way that I was taken through AA and the 12 steps in the process. It demonized emotions where you're not supposed to feel bad. You take on this cult persona of sorts where you're supposed to be happy, joyous, and free, pink cloud, grateful, find out what you're grateful for, turn it over, pray about it, live and let live, all this spiritual bypassing. So you're just supposed to kind of feel good, be obedient to the ideology, and parrot the program. Out here, we're allowed to be totally human, which includes being resentful, angry, all the things. Now, there are times, having said that, there are times where I did drink because I got angry, and that's because I didn't have coping skills before. I was drinking all the time. So I get why they say maybe being angry is dangerous because you might drink, but it's just not true. That's not like a true fact. So we're allowed to be angry, but it makes sense that we might have felt uncomfortable with that when we were in there, and rightfully so. We should be angry AF when we leave. If we are, we should be what we are. Whatever you are is fine. It's okay to be whatever you are. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to do a gratitude list, and we don't have to pretend that it was good or focus on what we liked. No, we can be mad about what we don't like. We can be whatever the heck we want, and that could be where we're at, exactly where we're at. We could allow ourselves to be exactly where we're at in our evolution, an evolution out of AA ideology. And perhaps our feeling angry about AA might be that we lash out at certain people. Maybe we feel angry at our sponsor, a group leader, the people who are a little more culty or harmful to us, or some of the things that happen inside the group. This could be a little bit tricky. If we feel like AA saved us, then we could feel like maybe we shouldn't be angry. And I know I still felt like AA saved my life or saved me until I don't know, a couple of months out of AA. I did therapy the first 6 months after leaving AA, and a huge breakthrough that I had in therapy was when I realized that I saved my own damn life. It was a huge epiphany, and I cried, and my therapist was like, no, AA didn't save you, you saved you. And I got it, where I knew like deep in me that that was true. I'm the one that said I can't do this anymore and told a friend, and then I was in rehab within 24 hours. I'm the one who went to rehab. I'm the one who paid for rehab. I'm the one who stayed in rehab and did the work, the therapy, whatever. I'm the one who went to AA. I'm the one who did the steps. I'm the one who got therapy at that time. I'm the one who learned how to meditate. I'm the one who spent all that time sponsoring people, whatever. I did all the things that resulted in the result of me getting sober. I did feel a kind of way about AA taking the credit for me saving my own life. First, it was an epiphany like, oh my God, I did that. I did all that stuff. I had the power all along. And then it was having feelings about AA having taken credit for that. Because if AA had failed me, it would have been my fault. If AA helps me, AA saved me. AA always gets the credit and I always get the blame. That's the way that the system is set up. If you get the result, it's AA's fault. Right? You got to blame it on AA. It's AA saved my life. My higher power saved my life. AA saved my life. But if you don't get the result, it's your fault. So that's something to be angry about. I don't know. I have some feelings about that. AA further pathologizes anger by saying that it is a sign of you being a dry drunk. Dry drunk is a made-up term that only really exists in AA ideology, although that's spread throughout the world, so people are indoctrinated into that, but it's like not actually a thing. So if you're angry, AA calls that a sign that you're not doing AA's program. Remember, Bill stole AA from a religious cult. This is just a religion. If you're not doing the religion, if you're angry, it means you need to do more religion. So no, it's not pathologized. We don't have to label ourselves because we have a natural human emotion. Likely we had our boundary crossed. There were a lot of things when I was in AA that it was appropriate to be angry about. I have stories coming into my mind now. Maybe I'll tell it to you. I wasn't aware I was going to share this story, but let's just flow with what's flowing over here. I was stalked in AA. I had a stalker in AA for a year and a half, the first year and a half of my no, it was like, I think it started around 6 months. I think it's a year and a half or 2 years in AA. I was stalked by this guy in AA, and he was like outside my house, like all sorts of stuff. I felt so uncomfortable. It was very difficult, and I was very angry about it. That's not me being angry about this mofo who is harassing me, who's in my home group. He comes to the meeting that I have the commitment at. I'm the chair at a meeting and he's always there. Like, no, we're allowed to be angry at things that are happening in AA, at AA, and to say it's all like, I need to work my program more, or I need to be grateful for things, or you can't have those feelings because it means you're a dry drunk. You're supposed to be like a good little AA and only grateful for everything. It's fucking bullshit. No, there's a lot of BS that happens in AA. I'm sure there are things that happened to you in AA that were not right and that maybe you were angry at the time, likely. And it's still, I'm not angry anymore about that guy, but I was angry about it for a while. It's really creepy. I eventually, I don't know, I just got like sick of it. Just here, a little tangent here. You know, I love those tangents. I got really sick of it, and I eventually thought the only way to make it stop is I need to like let other people know. So I ended up being like, through a panic attack, the burning desire at the end of a meeting. Does anyone have the burning desire? And I just raised my hand. I didn't even mean to. It was like this whole emotional thing. And I had a panic attack, and I just had snot, tears, hot mess, early sobriety. And I just said, there is this guy who's been stalking me. He's outside my house. He's following me around me. And I feel very, very uncomfortable. And I left some of the examples, and I said, he's in this room right now. And so is his sponsor. Like, if you don't stop right now, I'm going to go to the cops. And I just I let it out. I was very angry in that share, but I was also like hyperventilating. And side note, I didn't know I was going to share that story. He stopped after that. He still tried to like make amends to me. And I'm like, no, bro, if you stalk somebody, your amends literally is to leave them the fuck alone. No, I do not want to meet up with you so you can talk about that it wasn't good that you harassed me. No. Such botched amends, man. Literally, like, okay, now we're tangent on the tangent on the tangent. Literally, I've had two people stalk me in my life, one before AA and one after AA. And the first guy, I guess he ended up getting sober and going to AA because he also sent me amends, but his amends was basically giving me a life update. I'm like, how did you even find me, person, from like when I was 18 years old? And like, why are you giving me an amends that's really all about you? I don't really want to hear a life update from you decades later. Like, don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So I feel like even just the way that like it's so selfish, the amends in general. It's like we're showing up, we want to be like, we want to get our own side of the street clean. We put other people through this emotional process with us when they might not even be interested in it. Okay, let's come back to the theme of this video. Anger. If you have anger, and maybe the reason why I felt inspired to share all that, I don't know, is because maybe it'll like remind you of something that you went through so you can process that and move through it. There was a lot in my own experience and the people that I worked with and what I saw in AA to be mad at just about what was happening inside AA, let alone being angry when we leave AA and we realize like what it actually is and start really unpacking the ideology. So the anger makes sense. It makes sense to be angry. Yeah. And so AA frames the anger as a flaw in us, but what if anger is the truth trying to protect us? I don't know all the answers, but anger might be a sign that you're no longer willing to abandon yourself to stay safe. It's a signal that your trust was violated, a healthy response to harm that was minimized or spiritualized. Anger isn't the end, it might be the opening. This isn't about staying angry forever, although maybe you will. It's more about letting our anger be heard, being honest with ourselves, and just being, honest about like what we went through the denial. Then there's the anger. This is about grieving all of what happened in AA. For a lot of us, there is a lot to grieve. So we don't have to burn it all down, but it is nice to tell the truth to ourselves and just, make peace with what we've been through. So if you want to go a little further with this, I created some journaling prompts. You can pause this video and do them right now in this moment. You can write them down, do them later. You can come back to this video, or you can just listen to them and see if anything comes up for you. So here we go. What am I angry about, even if I feel like I shouldn't be? Let the anger speak without filtering it. Who or what do I feel betrayed by and why? Be as honest as you can. Nobody else needs to read this. This is for you and your own evolution. When you get angry about AA, if you do, what do you hear in your head that's trying to silence you, if anything? Maybe there's a voice that says you're overreacting, you're ungrateful, you're just resentful, or any AA bullshittery that appears in your head. How might your anger be trying to protect you? What might you say to somebody else who was angry? And here's the one where we look at how, if it was a loved one that went through this, what would we say to them? Like for me, okay, so if my loved one was the one that was stalked in AA, what would I say to her or to him? How would I navigate that? I find it helpful to sometimes put it outside myself to a loved one because sometimes I access more empathy that way. So whatever works best for you. So if it was a loved one, what is it that you would say to them about the things that you experienced that have created anger? What happens in your body when you let yourself feel the anger without making it wrong? This may or may not be relevant for you depending upon, I guess emotional suppression, right? Like what our past relationship is, what our relationship has been with emotions. I know that my relationship with emotions, I used to drink over them and then I used to AA over them. My daily reprieve is like managing my emotions. And so leaving AA and unpacking it all, there's a lot of emotions to kind of settle because it's the first time in my life I'm not self-medicating. So I started self-medicating with alcohol when I started drinking at 16 years old, medicated with alcohol for a while, and then I self-medicated with AA for a while. So leaving AA, it was no longer self-medicating. So it's like a new level of being with my natural self or with my emotions as they arise and unpacking them. So I think this is like super cool that we're doing this. So basically, the bottom line is if you feel angry, you are not doing anything wrong. And of course, if this is difficult for you, or if a lot of anger comes up, or you want support, therapy is great if you find a great therapist. Sometimes I don't know, some people like to do emotional work with support. I kind of like doing it on my own, mostly. I like digging through stuff. I've made peace with my emotions. It's been a whole journey. I know in AA, they used to call it like emotional sobriety. I don't really think of that term so much anymore. I feel like I don't like the recovery terms. I like deconstructing from the recovery terms in general. But being able to be with my emotions more skillfully and to not be afraid of them and to allow them has been quite the journey for me. It's been something that I've really loved. It's actually been something that I've taught like in my online courses and with students and clients over the years. I started a coaching business and online course business in 2012. So a lot of my work has been helping people with emotions. And I think specifically, particularly because I've struggled so much with mine. So I've always been so interested in learning how to navigate my emotional world. I didn't know I was autistic and ADHD until after leaving AA, but I certainly knew I was dysregulated. I didn't have that language for it. I knew that I had unresolved trauma because I just kept sweeping my traumas under the rug, right, and drinking over them. So I had a lot to unpack, plus an early sobriety if that's where you're at. I know I had a lot to come back to homeostasis on. There's a lot that can be happening, the post-acute withdrawal syndrome, pause. Or for me, I was also coming off benzos. I got off benzos when I was in rehab as well as alcohol. So I had a lot of my brain kind of stabilizing after that. It took quite a while to kind of get more, I was going to say emotionally stable, but honestly, and I did feel a bit stable in AA, but it's because of the benefits I was getting from AA, like the biochemical experience I was getting from the room, like the daily reprieve. But really, it wasn't until leaving AA and deprogramming and deconstructing AA and living without self-medicating that now I feel more emotionally stable and mentally stable than I have ever in my life. I've heard that from a lot of people in the comments that leaving AA was one of the best things they ever did because they're doing so much better with their mental health now. It's really cool, like out here to like not need AA, to know that we don't need AA, and to know that the forever recovery, I don't know, scam, like that it's not necessarily real. It's not real for me at all. You can choose to be in recovery forever. But really the bottom line with this video is that it's okay to be angry. Look into it, figure it out, feel into it. I like to explore it. What about this is making me angry? Why am I triggered right now? Am I betraying myself as somebody else? Do I feel violated? Is this my ego? Is this like a real boundary? I'm like, just unpack it and just to get more in touch with my emotions. It's been like a fun journey to not need alcohol or not need Alcoholics Anonymous to regulate. What's true for you? What's your journey with anger been like? Are you still angry at AA? And if you are, I get it. I totally get it. That's understandable. Let us know in the comments anything you feel comfortable with sharing. Let's unpack it together. I think that reading the conversations in the comments is so helpful. I know that I'm just one voice. That's it. I'm just one voice. I'm not the voice. I don't know what's right. I know what's right for me. So by reading the comments and by joining the comments, we can have a meeting of the minds down there and really unpack things together. It's more interesting what we all say basically than just hearing me talk. That's enough out of me for today. So check out the comments and I'll see you in the next episode, which is the third step, grief, which is bargaining. So we're going to be talking about bargaining in the next video. Yeah, I can't wait to hear from you in the comments. I feel like the anger one is so juicy. So I'll see you down in the comments and I'll see you next time in the bargaining video. All right, bye.